Hey, what is up guys? It is the moment you've all been waiting for. Today we are making the video on how to properly price out larger condo complexes for snow removal and landscaping, but this video here is going to really be specifically on snow removal. So you guys already saw my last video. It is a $32,000 contract. It is 28 units and it pays $8,000 a month for December, January, February, and March. That's how I structured my contract. So let's head over to the site. We'll do a quick drive through and then we'll get into the details on how it's done. So here we are, guys. We are pulling up now. This was a 7-minute ride from the shop, so super convenient. The first thing I want to tell you guys is I'm doing this just to simply help you guys out. I've been doing this for 10 years, so I'm just sharing with you guys how I do it. There is a million ways to do this. Some people do it all using computer software. Some people use AI. Like, there's a million ways to do it. I'm simply just sharing how I do it and what's been successful for me. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people, have controversies on how other people do things, but this is what works really well for me, and I'm sharing it with you guys, so hopefully you can find it helpful as well in your business. So let's start by doing a quick drive-through. That's what I always do right away. As soon as I get to this, as soon as people reach out for the inquiry, I go ahead and I do a site visit. That's the first thing I do. So as soon as the inquiry comes in for snow, I get the address and I drive through the property and scope it out and just take a look at the entire site. That's important because you want to already have the upper hand for when you go to meet them and do a walkthrough. It really looks good when you can say, hey, yeah, I've already driven through, I'm familiar with the property. And then, the next step I do is I set up a site visit with the HOA committee. So you can see here, the driveways are very small. This is the site. We're just kind of cruising through very tiny little driveways in front of those garage doors, and most of the walkways are small too. So take a look there. So here we go, guys. We're just on the final loop here. So that's all it is the hill up and then this side loop, and you can see all the driveways are just about the same size. Some units have a little bit longer walkways than others, but for the most part, that's it. That's the full drive-through. And then it just loops right back down. And there's the sidewalk you guys saw with the Aaron's Mammoth. Now obviously I should have used the plow since it was only a couple inches of snow. But I was excited and I really wanted to test out that snowblower, so I did adjust the shoes. It scrapes clean now, so for everybody that didn't like the results, it'll be much better on the next one. But there is the property. So step 1, I take a drive through the site. Step 2, I reach out to the HOA and I schedule a walkthrough with them to go over all the details, what they want done, frequencies, all the nitty-gritty details of what they need included in the contract. So let's go back to the office and we'll continue with the next step. So an HOA reached out for a snow bid, or there's one up for bid that you want. The first thing you do the site visit. As soon as you get the information, you get the address, you just take a site visit. Drive through, familiarize with the location, and then the second step, schedule a walkthrough with the HOA committee or HOA personnel. Sometimes they'll do group walkthroughs. For everybody that's going to put in a bid, you all meet and you go through the site together and take the tour. They go over what they want done, and that's it. Then you can go and compose your bids. Yeah, definitely schedule the HOA walkthrough. Ask them a million questions. Go through everything. Ask them about your previous snow provider. Were they reliable? Was there things you didn't like about them? What did they do well that you liked? How was their price point? Just get as much information as possible and use it to your advantage. If, they'll tell you, they'll be honest with you. They'll say, well, the last company wasn't that reliable, so that's why we're, looking for someone else. Or, well, they were way too expensive. Now to maybe be a little more competitive with your pricing. All these details are going to help you when it comes time to compose your bid. So after your site visit, you're going to thank them for their time and let them know that you'll start composing the bid. At this point, the first thing you want to do is figure out allocations for personnel and equipment. First of all, do you have enough equipment and personnel to successfully complete this job, yes or no? If yes, move on to the next step. Figure out, what does it take? Do you need 1 plow truck there, 2 plow trucks there, a skid steer, a loader, dump trucks for snow removal? What exactly do you need to successfully fulfill this contract? How many people do you need to do it? How many shovelers do you need? How many snow blowers do you need? Gather up all this information. So once you know what they require for snow removal contract and what you need for equipment and personnel, figure out your price. Always ask them, you know, what were you guys paying last year? I want to help you. I want to come up with a better price for you if that's what you're looking for. Or, you know, just try and dig. And as business owners, we are salesmen. Our job is to sell ourselves to other people, you know, to use our service. Ultimately, we're salesmen. Try and figure out, you know, what were they paying before? Or what do they want to pay this year? What's in the budget? So if they're not willing to share with you what they paid last year for snow or what they want to pay, here's a simple hack. Go on Zillow, look up that condo complex and figure out what their monthly HOA fee is. It's public information. And multiply it by how many units there are there. So if it's $500 a month HOA fee and there's 10 units, you know that every year they have a $60,000 annual budget. Basically just, you know, the $500 times 10 units, that's $5,000 a month, 12 months of the year, you know, that's $60,000. And then look up for your area, whether you're in Maine, Washington State, or upstate New York, just take a Google search for what is the annual percentage that condos pay for snow removal service in the winter here in upstate New York or wherever you are. It might be 10% or 15%, you know, whatever it is. If it's 10%, so 10% of 60,000, that's $6,000. This would be a much smaller complex, but would $6,000 work for you to do the snow removal, yes or no? And that's kind of how you can figure it out. Most units, you know, larger HOA fees are in the higher end units. You know, around here it's anywhere from $800 to $1,000 a month, and you know, 28 units, do the math, it's a lot of money every year they have. So bigger facilities, higher end condos, more money to spend. Keep that in mind. That's one way to kind of come up with a number without even getting any information from them. It's always better and more reliable if they're willing to share with you what they were paying or what they want to pay. But if you really have no clue at all, go on Zillow or go online, type in the address, find out what they pay monthly for their HOA fee, and then multiply it by however many units there are. So that way you know what their annual budget is that they're working with. And then Google also, you know, what is the average percentage that 8 condos pay for snow removal service in, you know, upstate Michigan or whatever it is. That's just a random place, but figure out for your local area what that number is, and then you can kind of figure out your price from there. So if it's a $50,000 annual budget and the average is, you know, 10% for where you live, that's a $5,000 contract. Is that going to work for you? Yes or no? So in my instance, they have a $356,000 a year budget, and 10% of that is $35,000. So realistically, I'm priced pretty competitively at $32,000. The $27,000 they were paying last year was cheap, and that's why they weren't opposed to paying more for a good, reliable company. The company they were using, they said they weren't reliable, and they actually went out of business. So that tells you something right there. They probably weren't making enough money. So for me, at $32,000, that's a really reasonable price, actually. To a lot of you guys, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. There's contracts worth a whole lot more. I mean, you know, $250,000 just for snow removal. So expand your horizons, think big, and just realize there's a ton of money out there for you to make. Don't, you know, if it sounds unrealistic to you, you're just not there yet with your business to realize that you can make that money. And that takes time, that takes years of growth. I was in a position where, you know, if you had told me 10 years ago that in 10 years you'll be closing $32,000 snow removal contracts, I would have been like, yeah, right, no way. But here we are, you know, five trucks, a great crew, and we're closing big deals. So it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, that's why I'm making these videos, to help you guys out. I really hope that after watching this, you feel more confident in going out there and pricing out snow for an HOA and hopefully closing the deal and making some good profits. That's really all I'm trying to do, guys, is just share my knowledge with you guys so that you can hopefully be more successful, or just learn, take something away from the video. That's all I want to do. There's a million ways to do this. I'm just sharing how I do it. This might not be the most efficient way or the most effective way, but it's what works for me, and it's what I'm able to share with you guys. A lot of other people don't want to talk numbers. I have no problem talking numbers. I think it's the only way to learn, really, is to hear people share numbers. So, you know, people can tell you how to do it and a million ways to do it, but if you don't ever discuss numbers, you're not going to learn. So I like to discuss numbers. I think for me, that's how I learned the best, when people shared their numbers with me. That kind of got me thinking, you know, oh wow, I'm priced way too low, or, you know, I'm priced way too high, and that helps me to close deals and have more successful turnovers to be more profitable. So that's really it, guys. That's the HOA trick that I use. Figure out the monthly HOA fee, multiply it by however many units. Now you know their annual budget. If you know their annual budget, you can figure out what remotely they're going to pay for snow. It's usually 10%, 15%, but every area is different. So look online, just Google in your area, wherever you are, upstate New York, wherever you might be, what is the average percent that condos pay for snow removal out of their annual budget? And you will get a number. There is a lot of public information out there, and you can really just do it like that. Otherwise, figure out what you need to profit and what your costs are, and make sure whatever number you give them, it's going to have plenty of profit for you and your business to grow. I always put a 60-inch snow cap on my contracts, and all my contracts are written up by an attorney to limit my liability and make sure I'm covered as a business. Everybody should be doing that. There's no reason to leave yourself out there for the wolves, you know, and the people that want to sue and take advantage of businesses. So get an attorney, have them write your contracts, limit your liability as best as possible so you can remain successful, remain growing, and don't, you know, no major setbacks. And then, yeah, I think that's it, guys. There's really not much more to be said about it. I can answer any questions you guys want. I'm happy to email you guys back. You know, I already had some people emailing me. I've sent responses. So shoot me an email if you have questions. I'm glad to help any way I can. Like I said, I'm just doing this to help you guys out. That's it. So I appreciate all the views, subscribers, everything. I really appreciate the support. I enjoy doing this, so when I see you guys subscribing and liking and commenting and engaging, you know, it makes me feel good about what I'm doing. So thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. Like I said, comment any questions. I'll be answering everybody. Give me a little bit of time, but I'll get back to everybody. Anything I missed, let me know. And plenty of more videos coming. I'm doing this, you know, I'm doing this for the long haul. We're going to be going over water features, landscaping, mowing, leaf cleanups, just anything you could think of. I am going to share my knowledge with you all, and hopefully you can learn something to implement into your business to be more successful. So thank you again, guys. I appreciate it. Best of luck out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.